is up, buds? Whew. Welcome to Weed&d, the pot-positive live tabletop role-playing experience. I am your dungeon master for the night, Brandon Allen McClenahan, but you can call me Bam. Man, let me tell you guys, I am so stoked to be back. We have had, man, just some technical issues galore over the past couple weeks. Big shout outs to friend of the show, Nick Vostaganis. He came through and has lent me a supercomputer that basically we're running this entire show off of right now. So I cannot thank that man enough. Nick, we and the Bud community, obviously all, thank you so much. You're a hero. Speaking of the Bud community, I couldn't keep going without mentioning, man. Last week, kind of everything went wrong. The stream had echoes. Our main computer was down. We were trying to slap something together last minute. It didn't really work that great. I apologize for that. But man, what happened after was really freaking cool. A bunch of the Buds came by to our Discord. We'll be dropping that throughout the show in the links in chat. But the Buds came. We all kind of hung out. We got high. We played some Jackbox games and just kind of hung out. And let me tell you, I was freaking out a little bit. I was headed toward a bad night, and that just turned everything around. And so again, I thank them all the time. I'm never going to stop. Big thanks to the Weed&d Bud community, specifically Smoked Out Turtle, Gray Lotus, Munge Party. I mean, you guys, you're there all the time, and it means the world to me just to, whatever our group is. It really means a lot through some of these kind of crazier times. And so we appreciate the hell out of you. Thank you so much for spending your valuable time with us while we all get silly and have some fun. I certainly am... I have a million things I could talk about, but I don't want to talk about any of them anymore because my favorite thing about this show is the people I am about to bring in right this very second. So if you'll allow me, I'm going to pass this joint through the magic fibers of the internet to my girl Brenna, and we're going to say what's up to the cast of Weed&d. How you doing, Brenna?
Oh! Hi, my name is Brenna, and I'm here to say that I'm gonna play some D&D today. I am so stoked to see you, buds, and I'm so stoked to be Brunor once again. And I am stoked to pass this one to Abby.
Ooh, and I am stoked to receive it. Ooh. Abby Dandy, a.k.a. Tennis Smooth Hands. At your service, smoothest hands around. Oh, I'm just happy to be here, you guys. Oh, and I'm happy to pass this little doobie onto my little drooby. Oh!
Thank you. Baby, that's Baby, everyone, just in case you didn't know. Now you know. What up, buds? Drew, Thoricus the Dwarf. Yeah, trying to take a nap. That is not working out so well for me again. So, yep, you're going to get another Grumpy McGee episode, unfortunately. Sorry about that, but night hags, what you going to do? Depend on your friends, right? And that's why you guys are here, to help me out and help all of us out, and why all of us are here. So, fucking lighters up to you, buds, and all that. Yeah, wait, where's Jake? Yeah. Best friend, come on in. I lost you for a second. All right, come on back now. Ooh, that's a nice drawing, Dan. Oh, there you go, bud. Yeah, it's you.
Thanks, bud. Sorry if you lost me. I may have frozen or something for a sec. It's been a while. I'm overdue. Anyway, buds. Oh, fuck, it's good to be back. Jake Taylor here is Real Authorvon, and my buddy needs a nap, man. This witch bitch shows up. Who ruins a nap? But I know who can stop those nap ruiners. The one and only Two Blunts Langley.
Oh, shit. Thanks, Jake. Yo, let me get a hell yeah from all the buds out there. Hell yeah. Yo, Divot's here for the night hags, so looks like he's in the right place. What's up, ladies? Passing it back to Bam.
Oh, the magic once again. All right, buds. We got a little ritual we love to do around here. Maybe you've heard about it, maybe you haven't, but we like to take a lighter, just like this little guy right here. I'm back to the In Pizza We Crust lighter. We like to hold that up in front of us, make sure we're not going to light any of our friends, family, or household pets on fire, and go. Lighters up. Let's play some fucking D&D, guys. I blew it out.
Weed&d, high fantasy, literally for you and me. So load up bowl and make a roll to take control. Weed&d.
Man, I love that intro. All right, guys, it is with great pleasure that I allow you to allow me to set the mood. D&D. When last we left the Ferocious Five, they were at long last settling down to rest. After destroying the statue of Sithesys the Corrupted, the Five searched for truths hidden amidst one another's shadowed histories. No one endured more scrutiny than Rial Othravon, who time and time again has proven linked with the Lord of Shadows. But touched by the magics of Tina Smoothhands and unable to tell a lie, Rial claimed once more that he knows no more than he has already revealed to his allies. The mistrust settled like dust upon the nearby gravestones as the heroes resolved to rest, to the great joy of the battle-fatigued Thoricus Onyxheart. As Tina and Brunor rested nearby, Rial experimented with his new invisibility magics and took first guard while Divid attuned to the magical robe of eyes. Or vest of eyes. We made it a vest now. As Thoricus slept, his dreams twisted into nightmares, and it was the robe of eyes, the vest of eyes, that allowed Divid to peer into the ethereal realm, revealing a hidden, hideous hag twisting dark magics upon the mind of Thoricus. All right, guys. All right. We jump back in, the Five surrounded by the Purified Garden, result of the miracle of Tina Smoothhands calling upon the bounteous powers of her god, Shantia. The floor stained gold with her divine energies, flowers blooming from the ends of once thicketed brambles all along the walls. Flowers which currently envelop Tina Smoothhands herself as she slumbers within the gentle wrap of a nearby rose blossom. Nearby, fast friends, Brunor the Serpent and Brian the Dracodile, lay in slumber, preparing to rest their weary eyes as well. Behind them, the haunting visage of the coffins littered around the once mighty Roper that now lies slain in the middle of the room. Rial Othravon, invisible to all but Divid himself, walks around, keeping guard, listening for sounds, signs of trouble. It is Divid who stands in the southern portion of the room upon the pillar which once flew the beholder zombie, also slain in battle by Thoricus and Tina. Divid, you stand upon a circular pedestal atop these 15-foot tall stairs. On the floor around you are 5 small green circles. And you notice, as you stand there and become aware of the world around you in 360 degrees from this new magic vision granted you by the powerful Vest of Eyes, you notice that your foot stands upon one of those circles, and it glows green. You only take note of this for a moment, as you see the vision behind your back, the full scale of your 360-degree vision coming into focus as your attunement after that long hour finally ends. And you see her, the twisted, hideous hag with long gray strands of hair that dangle over her withered face, a large wart blooming on the tip of her bulbous nose. You see her hand floats with a strange arcane energy, and you see small silver wisps of magic dancing between her fingertips and the forehead of Thoricus, as if she were reaching into his mind somehow. Divid, as you see this hideous visage feasting upon your friend, we shift into the mind of Thoricus Onyxheart. Thoricus, you currently stand at the top of a long series of stone stairs. You know these stairs very well. They are the long stone stairs that lead up to the castle of Kuilmara, where the king rules over his great massive army that you once were a great member of, now banished from your homeland. At first, you swell at the sight of this visage from your homeland, these long, beautifully hewn, steps supposedly carved by giants before your people took this region over. And as you look up at the top of the steps, you see her. The soft, earthy blonde hair of Lucille. Your beloved. The one you thought you would spend the end of your days to. Your betrothed. The namesake of your weapon. And you watch as she stands atop this great staircase, a black hand begins drawing a blade across her throat. You begin running, using your might to run as fast as you can up the stairs. The stairs appear to move like an escalator. Although you run as fast as you can, you get no closer to your target. And you watch as the black, shadowy blade slices the throat of Lucille. And the blood begins to spill down the carved rocks, at first like a small torrent, but then like a river. And as you run on these steps, the red trickles beneath your feet and makes you slip, and you begin to fall a great distance into the earth. Divot, you're aware of the world around you. You see the entire room in 360 degrees, the blooms all around, the resting figures of your allies, the attentive Riel Othravan. What do?
I look at the hag, and I'm not necessarily aware that I'm the only one that can see her. So I look at her, and then I send her a message because she is a creature, and I can do that. Right?
True. That is true. Yes.
So without
actually, I just want to clarify: are you sending your cantrip message, or are you trying to use your telekinetic abilities?
I just want to communicate.
Okay, perfect. So you can just talk to her mind.
That's how language doesn't matter, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, yeah. So using that, I just I say, all right. I say, hag. I am Divot, the Death Dealer, Herald of Hell, and these souls are mine. Fuck off.
Through the static and the channel of magic that connects your minds to one another, you hear first a faint laugh.
I know who you are. I have tasted of your energies before. You do not fear me, do you?
No.
Then find me below.
And in that moment, Divot, you see the hag look up. And, although you're kind of seeing in a way you've never quite seen before, she is somehow staring into every single eye that you see out of at the same time. You feel such a focused energy coming from her.
Seek me below.
And you see her turn into a gray puff of gas. And she starts swirling toward you. And at first, your defenses, you stand up back, arms at the ready, prepared to strike. But just as she appears to make contact with you, she dissolves into the stone cracks of the circle at your feet. The circle with the 5 green circles all around it. And disappears, seemingly, into the depths below you.
Word. So, Divot, I was mostly bluffing, and I'm just glad she went away. I'm like, woo!
Skeleton hand.
And I'm gonna take a minute to try to process all that.
So yeah, you're kind of just like, the feet on the ground upon which you stand, you're not so trustworthy of in the moment. You're kind of waiting for her to pop up at any moment. A tricky spirit, to be sure. And so as you're kind of looking around again, learning this new, if you can only imagine how disoriented it would be to now see in 360 degrees, and so you kind of start channeling your focus out in all directions around you. And you notice that Rial is still, bow at the ready, listening. You'll hear a trickling rock, and suddenly the bow is pointed directly as it trickles down the wall, but nothing more than a shifting of the earth. You see the resting eyes of a trancing Brunor laying upon the back of Great Brian the Dracodile, being supported up by his wings, creating a small, soft bed for her which to lay upon. And in a seemingly peaceful moment, again, you kind of take in the majesty of the surroundings around you. And you see that Thoricus, now no longer connected to this hag, appears to fall back into a deep slumber. So Thoricus, your rest actually begins right now. You have not rested yet. You're still very fatigued. You didn't wake up from your dream, but unfortunately you did lose those max hit points until you receive a greater restoration spell. So yes, Divot, you're still kind of standing on this pedestal. You see Rial walking around your resting allies. What do you do?
I whisper to Rial. I'm like, psst, and I look right at him. And I'm like, Rial, I gotta talk to you.
No.
France.
Turning over.
Buddy, turn your earpiece off, bro. I'm trying to sleep.
And I basically just want to tell, I'm like, Rial, I know we must let them rest. But Thoricus,
What?
his slumber was being ruined by some sort of evil force.
Right.
First of all, I'm baffled. I'm invisible and he can see me. What's that?
Oh, yo, just for some flavor, my eyes are also closed.
Dope.
For some flavor. France.
So yeah, Rial, after having been on guard, you hear the tickle of Divot's voice in your mind, something you're getting a little more used to as he uses his power more and more. You see him across the great pink swirling mists that surround the pedestal at the southern part of this recess within the earth. And he seems to be kind of like beckoning you over there. But again, you do, like you said, you notice, first off, he can see you while you're invisible. And second off, he is not actually looking at you with his eyes. But as you, so perceptive are you that you do notice several of the eyes on his vest are staring right at you.
France.
I'm gonna go talk to my pal Divot. I'm just gonna
Alright,
zip over.
yeah, you walk over. You've now seen Divot kind of walk across this pink mist before. This majestic, seemingly, the closest thing you have to compare it to, Rial, is the magics that you've seen Divot summon from. You would almost swear that this looks like a pool of his own, like, pure energy, So as you kind of walk up, you've jumped over this chasm before, but you kind of set your foot out and you feel that pink mist kind of solidify underneath your feet as you step. It supports your full weight. You walk across the aisle. You ascend the 15-foot stairs there that lead up. You kind of look up, and Divot, reminding you almost of the image that you saw when you first got in here. This thing standing up with this heavy, dark energy, this seemingly eyes, thousands of eyes peering in all directions on this vest that he's now attuned himself to. As you kind of go up the steps, for a moment, Rial, it's a little troubling. He seems so natural in these moments. Like, it would seem so natural for you to be climbing these stairs to have to strike him dead, as some enemy or some great, but you also know the other side of him and what he actually represents. And for the first time, you kind of start realizing what a benefit a soul like Divot has in that darkness, in that permeating happiness that always swells from him, even as he seems to be getting closer and closer to this new manifestation of himself. That part, always rings true. And as you're kind of having this step, you step up onto the top step of this platform, and you find yourself standing on the circular platform where Divot stands. And as your feet step onto the stone circle, you see one of the other green circles in the stone circle setting begin to glow. So now 2 of the 5 are illuminated.
Rial, this is the first time we've had a moment to chat, and this is like the evilest I've looked. But I'm gonna be like, and I just want to be like, man, that Sisyphus stuff is crazy. Look, you and I are more connected than you're ever gonna know. I trust you. And then I give him like one of those Predator-style handshakes.
And in that moment, Divot, as your skeletal hand clasps the wrist of Rial, you feel through your fingertips the heartbeat that you always hear as Rial is near you. And for once, you can actually feel the beating of Rial's heart. A heart that calls to you to strangle it dead. And so in this moment, in this beautiful moment of unity between you and Rial, there is still the ever-present knowledge that whatever the source of that heartbeat is, it is inexorably linked to your destiny.
Trans.
But I don't tell him that.
Hey, while we're clasped like that, while we're in our damn man shake, I'm just gonna look Divot in both life and in undeath, whatever this is. You've always been for the you've always been there for me, friend. Thank you. Wrap it up and do a hug.
Yeah, and I'm like, brother, we're glowing.
And yes, you feel that heartbeat once more, no longer just through the fingertips of your bony skeletal hands, Divot, but as Rial presses himself against you in a showing of affection, you feel that heartbeat pounding like a hand against a door, and your chest, and you feel yourself torn in this moment between your absolute love for your ally and this strange, cold destiny that ties you two together.
So you're saying we're not alone here? Something's going on with Thorcus?
Yeah, I told you to turn your earpiece off, man. I'm trying to fucking sleep.
You look over and Thorcus is still laying on the ground with the illusion of Tanara that Rial had dropped on him.
That's none of you. That's
Hey.
not, right?
Shut up.
And that's
Trans.
don't.
Trans.
I'm going back to bed.
Trans.
Love you. I'm going back to bed.
You see Thorcus just like throw his sending stone or his rocky talkie. All right, so yeah, Rial and Divot, you guys are kind of standing here. You know, what a sight, you know, looking upon the golden ground in front of you. Again, all of you, you know, we had this kind of moment with Brunor as she experimented or as looked around at the coffins. But even you guys, you know, Divot, you've certainly grown in power, and your powers are changing all the time. And you kind of feel yourself growing in two different directions. You are, however, just, you can't help but be baffled by what the type of transformation that has occurred within your sister. And the power of this Shantia, you know, a deity you don't really know anything about, like almost one of the more forgotten gods of the harvest, you know, and you have seen her powers grow exponentially in your last, you know, few weeks together. So you're just kind of standing on this, you know, gorgeous stone column with these glowing green orbs as pink mist swirls around the island that you're on as you look at the gold-stained ground that your friends now sleep upon. You know, it's just another one of those moments of the Ferocious Five that is crying for a bard to write a song about it.
Oh, yeah.
And as Drew's sending stone whizzes by me, if it whizzes by me, I just roll over. I'm just having the perfect dream about a feast. Oh, honey glazed ham. Oh, I'm just having the best. I could never wake up from this. No, I'm just very restful.
Best
right now.
night's sleep you've ever had in your life.
Finally.
Yeah, yes. As bad as Thoricus's night was, yours was like 3 times that, but better. And yeah,
I'm healing everybody.
Yes. Yeah, and if you recall, Tina, you know, the flower kind of like de-armored you, but you feel safe. You feel like if at any moment it would quickly force your armor back onto you and let you be ready and thrust you forward. You feel this overwhelming sense. You know, again, after having spent so much time connected to Theras Dune, a cold god, a powerful god, but cold and you know, conniving and constantly asking you to do things you didn't particularly want to do. This kind of nurturing feeling that you're receiving from Shantia, it just makes you feel even more that you're the love that you feel for the world, for your allies, for the things you wish to protect, is now being returned back to you from your god. And it's a very powerful moment, which gives you the greatest night's sleep you've ever had while your buddy over here is tossing and turning.
I'm just conked out, drooling on some flowers.
You see the flowers like wiping it off for you, like
Aww.
and a little pat on the head.
Shantia, how's my back?
Shanti is your girl.
Mm-hmm.
Hashtag Shanti is your girl.
Trance.
I mean that's where you guys are at right now.
Yeah.
So what are my awake folk? We're still basically in the rest mechanic. You guys don't know that Thoricus hasn't started his yet, but he would be asleep for the next 8 hours unless you guys act upon him. So that's kind of where you're at. You see the trancing, Tina, you just hear like some heavy snoring, some like rumbling halfling snores booming from within this flower. But you sense just an overwhelming sense of happiness. And then you see like a miserable Thoricus like tossing and turning on the ground so much that there's a small divot in the earth below him. And then, Brunor laying on the back of Brian the Dracodile.
Trance.
I apologize, best friend. That was real dialogue to Divot. I wasn't trying to like sending stone you, but it's still funny. So, but yeah, out of the hug, I'm like, Divot, you're saying we're not alone. What's going on with Thoricus?
Thoricus was being tortured by some sort of, and I'm just floating this out there, I don't know, some sort of interdimensional witch hag that was on the other plane. I think that's what was happening.
You don't call her that.
Of course.
But I scared her off. She did, however, super want us to follow her, which sounds like a trap.
Trance.
Sounds like a trap to me too.
Man, I look at how Tina's sleeping, and I look at Riala, and I'm like, if I had known such power was possible without such sacrifice. Ah, well, what's done is done.
The cold clap of his skeletal hands.
Fuck.
And I'm just jolted awake. What? What's going on?
You poke out of the flower.
What?
Fuck, I just went to sleep. Shut up.
What was that?
Trance.
Well, Rial, I think that when they wake up, we should investigate these glowing things. But in the meantime, I'm gonna get this vest, I'm gonna tailor this vest a little bit.
Right. I can do that.
Already looks good. I agree. We should allow our allies to rest. It's been a long time. And can I arcana check the runes? You mentioned it was an arcane energy.
Yeah.
Can I check on that?
Yeah, give me an arcana check there, Rial.
I just plop down without even thinking about it.
Yeah, Divot, again, it's just so, you're so natural at, I'm not going to lie to you. Holy crap, my earphone just electrocuted my ear.
Oh.
Whoa.
All right. Whoa. Buzz.
All right.
I'm sorry.
That was such a strange feeling, and you're seeing it live.
The narrative is electrifying.
But yes.
You're a good storyteller.
Divot, I seriously, that was crazy. Am I being hagged right now? Back up. Can anybody see into the ethereal plane?
Where's Ashton?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. That actually totally threw me. So I'm back. Divot, your charisma is so high that I am stupidly going to put this back in.
How high is it?
It's higher than giraffe genitals.
Ah!
I didn't want to say the term. It's kind of gross. So yeah, Divot, your charisma is so high. You're so good at just making the best scene possible that it's almost like an effortless task for you. And so imbued by this pink mist, a similar source of energy to the bard side of yourself, you plop yourself right down dead center. It did it again. And dead center in the center of that circular pillar. So, you know, you just set yourself down as you see Rial kind of start looking around. And Rial, you kind of feel a strange vapor coming through the cracks in the ground. And you go ahead and you try. Now, I am actually on this, you get advantage for this very reason. And with your Arcana check, you get a 21. This magic, whatever this vapor that seems to be coming up from the cracks of the ground around you and Divid in this moment, there's something about it that just feels so familiar. And you kind of run your hand over the cracks in the ground, you know, hand about a foot above the ground, and you see these wisps of silver energy that seem to tug at your hand and then let you go. And as you examine the magics around the circle where you stand, you feel like you're back in your cell. You feel the cold, moldy smell in the air. The humidity in the room. It was always wet. You were never comfortable. Your clothes stuck to your skin. It was its own torture to add upon the isolation of those 7 years.
Yeah.
But unless you fight against it as hard as you can, your eyes begin to get heavy, and you feel like you're sitting once more on that worm-eaten mat that Ergon called your bed. You flash out of it a little bit. But yes, you don't necessarily know what spell has created this, but you at the core of your being are familiar with it.
Great. When I asked Divid, this, I've seen this before. This magic that you're capable of. Can you explain it to me at all? I've seen it before. I've felt it before.
I'll tell you anything you want to know, my friend.
There's a lot I'd like to know, but this magic takes me back to Ergon. Being imprisoned all those 7 years, even just coming close to it, it practically puts me right back in my cell.
My friend, the magic that seeps through those cracks is not from me.
And Divid, you actually, the magic is the mist that seems to emanate from the cracks, identical to the mist of that hag as she disappeared below the ground.
And then I'm kind of like,
Trans.
Trance song. Yeah, Brunor, you're having, a decent enough trance. Not bad,
Yeah.
not too good. It's like you like a 5 out of 10.
Trans.
Decent enough
And
trance. What is?
I'm just-
I would actually really like to know, what does Brunor trance?
Trans.
Where do you go in your head?
I go back to Elmira, and I go back to sitting on the roof of my home and overlooking the entire city, and I can just see everything and the reflection of the water in the sky. That's where I go to. That's my trance.
So Brunor, there you sit, on the sloped, decadent palace roof, looking down over the great city of Elmira, gorgeously made, underwater. You see the ivory and gold gates, legendary across all the seas are the great open gates of the city of Elmira. And you just look around and you bask in the feeling of the waters of your homeland and your people. And that's your trance.
Trance.
All right, so we're back to our awake folks. Basically, at this point, However you guys want to play this out over the next, like I said, it's basically a 3 hours from now until your elf is done, and you might want to switch with Rial so he could get his rest. But yeah, what are you guys doing for the next, like, let's say 3 hours? You actually hear Thoricus start snoring. As if he's wandered off to a restful sleep.
Yeah, well, I'm poking my head. I'm finally waking up. I'm moving my body a little bit, and maybe I'm a little bit groggy at first, but clearly there's a reason that I was awoken. So I head up and I want to meet up with everybody on the center pedestal.
All right, so Tinny, yeah, you kind of see, Rial visibly shaken as he waves his hand, above the cracks around this circle. You see Divot, eyes closed, as the many eyes on the vest of eyes that he wears are peering in all different directions. To your eyes, it would appear like he's trying to figure out how to work this thing, but his eyes remain closed. And so, yeah, after the, skeletal clap of your brother kind of woke you up, you push out, and as you begin to step out of the flowers again, you see that the surrounding branches and everything re-don your armor. Each individual piece carried by another flower or branch that then just presses it against your body as they're locked perfectly fit. And, it's like, you've kind of gotten used to maybe like a loose plate in the back that you're just like, that's just the way it is. And it's like, so nurtured are you by these plants in this area that it's even kind of solved, some of that. And like your armor fits better than it ever has. And you benefit. I will actually give you this, Tina, from this, again, miracle that you have interacted with. In that short rest, you are granted a long rest. So you are back to full spells and full life.
Wow, amazing. Yeah, I truly feel nourished by my surroundings, by Shantia, and I feel ready to move forward and see why I was rudely awoken.
Yeah, nobody really talking to you or even paying much mind to you as you kind of step out and get redressed. At first you almost trip over Thoricus because he's so asleep that he's like unmoving and he just looks like a stone upon the ground. And yeah, you hear a little rumbling. At first you think it may be an earthquake at your feet, but it's just the hurling chest of the mighty Thoricus snoring at last.
So I feel blessed and ready to move on, but also annoyed.
Why you gotta be right in front of me? So yeah, you move over, and you have already experienced this pink mist. You move with little effort across and reach and join your allies. You see as you come up the steps, a few of the eyes look at you. Divot, you see before anybody else would. As she's coming up these steps, and the same phenomenon that you've now witnessed twice before, as her small halfling feet touch the circle. One of the 5 circles glows green. Now 3 of the 5 are lit.
What's all this about? What's all this about?
I basically... So, sorry, we're not alone.
Okay.
Thoricus was getting tortured by an invisible hag witch.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for waking me.
So, Tina, you recall, of course, you communicated with the hag of the tree before you guys were actually plummeted into the earth here. And at this description, it would seem perhaps that same spirit that kind of called to you to bring you into the earth in the first place, that it may be that same spirit.
And we plan to attack the hag witch?
Look, I scared her off by kind of bullshitting about how strong I was. And basically she was like, come get some. So I just wanted to let you guys know what was going on.
Trans.
I say we take her, the 3 of us right now.
Well, Brunor is still asleep, we require assistance.
Trans.
She's away for now. I was just asking Divot if maybe we should let our allies rest for a while.
Yes, we should attack her right now in like 6 hours.
Yes. that kind of right now.
Like next thing we do.
Trance.
Snore.
So Tina, you two, as a divine caster, are you're familiar enough with magic. If you wish to try to garnish any wisdom from an Arcana check on this magic, I would allow it.
Oh my, yes. I would love to do that.
Trance.
Can I also, since I'm sitting down on it, just kind of try to like take a closer look and like I know that it's her, but I want to see if I know anything else about this as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, you guys, in this case, I don't always do like a bunch of Arcana checks, but each of you have experience with magic in a completely different way. You call upon a completely different power source. So in this case, each of your own Arcana checks may yield more information.
Okay. So
Tina with 15.
Yeah, I got a 15.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
And Divot, again, being in your area, you get a dirty 20 there. Not a crit, but a 20 indeed. So both of you actually have a little bit of wisdom. Let's do Tina first. You also see these vapors sticking out, and to you, it's a little bit like, hey, this is like my paradise. Like, why is this magic here invading into this place? It doesn't seem inherently evil to you as you kind of channel upon the source of it. But you, being attuned to such things, you know that this magical vapor seemingly has a ritualistic power source, as if created by some sort of ritual.
Okay. Could I perform a ritual here to get more information, would you say?
So you're not familiar with this exact ritual, but you do think that if you studied it somehow, or were given access to the root of it, that it is something you may be able to control. You look at the vapor now, you call upon that divine source, you open that river of energy betwixt you and Shantia, and in that moment, you try to kind of put a little control over this vapor. And although it does feel like a magic that you could master in some way, you're missing a piece to the equation. But that is that you do know that there is some sort of ritual magic at play that has created at least this magical energy around you currently. And then Divot with your dirty 20. This magic, this gray vapor, although not stained with the same mist of energy, you suddenly become keenly aware that the magic around you is Fey magic. Magic from the Feywild. The pink magic, hailing from the Summer Kingdom. The gray magic around you, still Fey in source, but cold like the Winter Court. So that is what each of your Arcana checks revealed.
Well, this hag witch ran off. Where did they go?
She said she wanted to below me.
Oh. Congratulations.
Get out of here. Nope, you're done.
Serious?
Done. Sorry, bro.
Oh God.
Sorry, I'm 12 years old.
Oh man. I am also
You,
12.
man. That's...
Oh my God.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh my God.
Oh, my cheek hurts so bad.
She said she was below me. She's below us.
There you go.
Right.
Well.
You broke him.
All right, so yeah. Fuck. All right. So, Tina, you feel that same you definitely feel a calling from below you. This idea that this power source is below you makes sense in your mind as well. But yes, you do know, Bruno requires a couple hours more sleep. Rial still has yet to take his trance as well. And Thoricus, little Snoricus over there, needs a solid 8. Or, 6 and some breakfast. That's actually, for our newer players, that's an interesting thing to note real quick. Little D&D tidbit. Long rests are usually tied to sleep. People think about them as sleep, but a long rest doesn't necessarily just mean sleep. In fact, you could have a long rest without sleeping. It's considered to be like eating or rest time activities, just taking a moment to not be adventuring or, fighting or doing doom and epic things. So that, I'm sorry, I just wanted to pass that a little. I always found that really interesting because I had always had, you need an 8-hour long rest is 8 hours of sleep, but it is not that. And so, like I just said, Thoricus, you could sleep for 6 hours, have some great breakfast for a couple hours. That'd still be a long rest.
Yeah, I could get some breakfast started while Thoricus finishes off that sleep. Let's see what nature's bounty has to offer in this little wonderland here.
So, Tina, give me it's a survival check with advantage, because once more, as you find a need for spices, or as you find a need, for rose petals to flavor your water with, these brambles just kind of reach out to you naturally and hand it to you. So, again, Shantia being the god of the harvest, your connection through food, I would say, man, with a good enough, basically we'll consider this a cooking check. With a high enough one, I would say there may be some additional power granted to your meal. Ooh, boom, 20, dirty 20, not a crit,
Yeah.
dirty 20. So yeah, man, what I just said applies. So yes, you begin cooking, an extravagant meal.
Oh, can I find some eggs too, and some potato? Probably not potatoes,
Like
but some
mole
truffles
eggs?
maybe.
Yeah. Something like a mole egg
wild
pops out. You're like, I've never really eaten a mole egg before.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Moles have eggs.
Turns out mole eggs are great because you rolled a 20.
Yeah. Really nice.
My advice to everybody: eat mole eggs.
Crack a mole egg.
But I got that. I'll get that started, nice and crackling on a little campfire for everybody when they get all
Again, as you go to
nice
make a
and
fire,
set.
it hands you, dead brambles and sticks that it seemingly pulled from the ground around you and feeds the fire so that it just gets to be the perfect temperature.
Stoke it.
And I got a little hot spot over here so I can get the edges all nice and lacy. Ooh, perfect.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, and you just start creating another miraculous dish, similar to the last one that you made when you guys were last in Amarillo. So yeah, that would be. We already did an encounter for this first 4 hours. Tina, I'm just going to place you back here, kind of setting things up.
Thank you.
Again, as you leave, I would say you do note that when you step off of that center pillar, that one green circle deactivates. So now only 2 are lit as the 2 of you stand upon it. And you begin going back to cooking. Thoricus, we could say like about halfway through your rest, we can include like a meal and maybe an after meal snooze as the second part of your rest. And basically Brunor and Thoricus at this point are woken up by the after, like I said, about 4 hours since we started resting, the amazing scintillating smells of this glorious cornucopia of food presented by Tina Smoothhands.
Oh my God, we're back again.
I'm just bopping
Brian the
around.
Crocodile,
doing
wiggles
thing.
his big, thick, wiggly body and drooling heavily, quickly rushes over and is first up to be served.
And he gets packed. It scraps. Because he's a good boy.
You know, his big tail kicking up this golden dust from the golden dirt around you. You know, just waving and just so happy is Brian the Crocodile to be around his friends and allies. And now that he's a beefier, thicker boy, you know, a little swolled up from the shoulder up, looking real hungry. You notice that, you know, whereas he was a thick, wiggly, hungry boy before, he's now even thicker, wigglier, and hungrier.
Yes, I am so excited to have gotten my trance on. I've been in my good place. I am in a good mood again. I feel good, feel limber, I feel great. And I got to nap next to my thick, wiggly boy. And I see he's feeling good. So I'm gonna head over to the group with everybody, and I'm gonna see what this delicious smell is all about.
Yes, you see the glorious bounty laid out before you. You know, you see what, you're like, I swear to God, that's just a ration. You know, somehow Tina has managed to weave this masterful meal. You know, eggs, where would these eggs come from? You know, mole eggs. You know, it's like she's been presented ingredients to a dish that would not have been found, you know, in the nearby vicinity. So, but yes, a glorious bounty of both, you know, eggs, protein, vegetables, and fresh produce from all around has been, you know, brought down, and each bite of the food just kind of fills you with that bounteous warmth that we've described several times that now seemingly emanates from Tina. And you can see that as she serves the meals and, you know, calls upon that sweet and miraculous energy of Shantia, there's like a grace in her movements. She looks like a nun serving the homeless. There's a grace and a connection in what she's doing that just seems so locked into her purpose at whole. And so even as she hands you a dish of food, it is actually the first bite of that dish to receive it from her. And so you feel just this kind of magnanimous warmth and comfort that she experienced in her flowery embrace. That feeling is now passed on to you, and you're filled with it.
Yeah, I don't need to eat it, but I do.
Yeah, this rips. I want to eat it like it's gonna be taken away from me.
And it brings me so much joy, and I'm just basking in everybody's enjoyment of my meal. It's nice.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so basically what this dish serves, it is an inspiration point to everybody. So if you have one, you only get one inspiration point. But right now, our stock of inspiration points fills up, and anybody would I mean, you get healed, but you're all doing rests right now, so it's not quite as helpful. But yeah, you all get that.
Eat up.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And Brian just scarfs down quickly the scraps nearby, and then begins circling the circle, giving the great big puppy dog eyes to every single one of you as much as he can, just like.
Because I don't need to eat, I finish much faster than everybody else. And like to entertain everybody and to do a solid to our boy Brian, I kind of pluck along the old school broken version of our song, and I'm like 5 to 5 to 5, and Brian.
Ooh, yes. And you see, you know, Divot, your performance once more as you begin to struggle, you know, strum along your mandolin. The song, you know, if you'll go so far back with us to our very first sesh, the song of the bard, you know, calling upon the great efforts that you guys had done on the recently shattered isles, and at the addition of the lyric and the song, Brunor, you see Brian like looks at you. Like, he can't necessarily understand, but he feels like that mattered. And so he looks to you to kind of finish that communication to him. But you do notice that now that Brian, this transformation in him, it is not just of body, but of mind. You see him kind of trying to figure things out. So yeah, you see him look up at you and just kind of vexed.
I make eye contact with him. And I kind of send the message with my abilities and with our connection that we have that, like, you're one of us. You're one of us, and you're one of the 5.
And you see as you know, use the small hand signals that you use to convey emotions, you realize that you're beginning to express terms that exist beyond the vocabulary that you would have to speak to an animal. And you find that even when you're unable to create the sounds for you, Brian is watching you. And you see like two electrical wires getting closer to each other as you're trying to explain this to him using different words, going down different possible, like, well, how do I explain this? It's like, you know, it's like a fight, but good. Or, you know, as you're trying to use your rudimentary concepts to explain to him, you see as like the light inside of his mind, those wires get closer. And finally, he looks you directly in the eyes, and you see the circuit close. And he understands what you just said. And you see him swell with purpose. He stands up, and you see, you know, he stands about 3 feet taller at full extension now. The muscles on his arms and chest swell with pride, and his wings whoosh, flash out. And he begins screaming out, and you see a green jet of fire blow out of his mouth. And that's where we're gonna pick it up after intermission, man.
Oh my god!
Absolutely what?
Absolutely.
Up in the air. Up in the air. It wasn't at you guys. I don't want you thinking the wrong thing. He just did it. But,
He did just do it.
He
Got
did
it.
do it.
what a... God, I love playing D&D with you guys.
Done did it.
Buds, we'll be back. We do a little 10-minute intermission so we can all use the restroom and get hydrated. Everybody be sure to crit sip. Make sure you hydrate. Big water, we're coming for you. We like to highlight the amazing art that we are just so blessed to have submitted for this project, guys. The stuff is, it warms my heart. I'm literally surrounded by it. I keep the art near me because it just, man, to see it in real, it's a story we're improvising together in our mind, and then to see it manifest into just beautiful art. Thank you so much to all the artists who submit stuff. Big shout outs to Ray Torres and Reza Von Q, VQ, and Vlad, obviously, who is just a titan for us and has created so much wonderful art for the world of Ganjaria and for the show of Weed&d. And we love him. We love his art. Check all this art out at intermission and listen to the incredible music contributed by another brilliant artist, Sandy Stein, with whom without this show would not be nearly as fun. So, guys, enjoy the art. I will enjoy the art. We will see you in 10 short minutes for the conclusion of this chapter. What is up, buds? Welcome back to WeeDnD. Whew, when last we left the Ferocious Five, they were bearing witness to the first use of Brian the Dracodile's new breath weapon. That is right, Brunor, through whatever magics have interweaved between the dragon peni fed from Thoricus to your big, thick, wiggly boy. It seems not only is his intelligence growing, but so too is his connection to that draconic magic that now seems to seep through his body. A strange connection that none of you are really able to explain. In this moment, as the green fire stops spilling from his mouth, Brian looks at all of you as Divot is, still strumming along on his mandolin the song of the Ferocious Five, the Five, and Brian. And you see he looks at all of you, his eyes, welling with joy and pride to be considered one of your allies. And you see him kind of stepping up into his role in all of your shared destinies. And there's just this kind of heavy, powerful moment of connection between you all, and no more than between Brunor and Brian in this moment. Brunor, you realize that the magics that have transformed him there's still more that he is continuing to transform, and you see this intelligence now in him that a light has kind of turned on that once was dark. So you guys are still kind of sharing the meal, in the great purified chamber. On the gold ground, still glowing with the divine energy of Shantia as you guys eat this delicious meal prepared by Tina Smoothhands. In this moment, there's almost the passing of the guard to the next shift of your, the long rest mechanic, so to speak. Rial, you definitely weary from now experiencing all these things. Again, your mind still kind of scraping with the concept of that 7 years of torment and imprisonment in the cell below Ergon's chamber. And this horrible memory you fight so hard not to let break through. But for some reason, in that moment of connection with the magics seeping from below this altar, that it kind of just brought you back there again. And so you're pretty tired, all things said. Brunor renewed. Thoricus, after enjoying your little meal bits, you're more than welcome to go back to sleep. I promise I'm not.
No. Papa smells bacon. Felt like he had his mind raped by a night hag or something like that. I'm gonna get my bacon, my eggs, my taters. I'm gonna go back to sleep.
You see Thoricus kind of smiling a little bit as he eyeballs the food, a way that he never smiled at any of you guys. And he just kind of holds it like a lover and lays down on the ground, his eyes, heavy with fatigue, but still he manages to scoop bits of food into his mouth as he sleep eats.
I will give respect to Tina, though. I know who cooked the food, so I'm gonna be like, girl. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you, Thoricus.
Directly looks at you and
Thank you. Thank you. And as Thoricus goes to bed, I kind of put my hand on Rial's shoulder. I notice how weary he looks. It's my turn to stay awake for a little while. So I'm gonna sit near the fire and I listen to the song that Divot's strumming along, and I tap my toes and I look down at my toes and I notice that my toes need a little loving. So I want to reach in my bag and see if I have any clippers or anything, see if I can keep alert while giving my feet some self-care right now.
Absolutely. You've got your grooming kit, as you utilized, your feminine wiles a few times in your survival along the way. And so, yes, your appearance is something that you're used to having to keep a certain level of maintenance. And so, yeah, you look down and, halflings have larger feet than the average race. And so, yeah, you notice that, the lack of TLC, of a good bathhouse even for you guys, it's been a while. You did have one nice, real good bath a ways back, but, it's a long distant memory at this point. So, you take that moment to just kind of exhibit a little self-care. You're keenly aware of your surroundings, keeping guard, but also taking that time to get yourself presentable the way that you would prefer.
Yeah, and as I do that, I open myself up to the group and I make eye contact with Rial and I say, rest. You need it.
You got it.
Yeah, when I kind of I finished my bowl and everything, and I want to look up at Real, and he approaches and just kind of make eye contact and tell him, "You're in a safe place here, so turn to 12." Then I want to like jostle him. Like I want to like as I'm getting up, I'm just jostling him. Yeah, you gotta relax, bro. You're in a safe place. You're safe.
And I come in on the other side, and before you know it, we're joshing. We're joshing.
We're going from jostling to joshing.
I love joshing.
It's always happening. Every time you cook, there's joshing.
Oh, they go hand in hand. But no time for joshing now. It's time for you to rest. Okay, buddy? Go
All
to sleep.
right. So whoever is on guard, which I believe in this instance would be whoever's still awake. So Divot, Tina, or Bruno, whoever wants to. One of you, please roll me a d20, just to see, if anything were to transpire during the period of long rest.
Uh-oh.
All right, a 5.
Oh.
Oh no.
Ferocious 5, right?
Yeah, the 5.
That's good.
That's it. It's just us.
So Tina, you're tending to your weary feet, taking in a kind of a brief moment to even this magic, this miracle you've performed. It was a level of magic far beyond what you have mastery over. So, in the same sense that everybody else is baffled in the presence of kind of this tremendous event, so too are you. And you're just, it's like, and even still, this strange connection you have where this wildlife seems to be like answering your beck and call. It's a completely unnew thing. And, while you're feeling that comfort, that comes with self-care, because self-care is very important, you are also encouraged by the nourishment of your surroundings and the magics of just the room that emanates all around you.
I'm popping my toe knuckles, and I'm almost self-soothing because I can't believe I've done what I've done. But I find some peace, and I do feel safe.
Quite a far journey since your hometown of Ashbury and your turbulent youth, the discoveries of the dark past of your family, and a life you've mostly completely left behind, except for these strange blips that keep popping up. But yes, so as this is happening, you kind of, more than anybody, are still, there's like this lingering thought in your mind through all of this, the burden with Real, the strange magic coming from below, the hollow within the earth that you're in. There's still those coffins. And so you're sitting there and you're having this moment with yourself, and as you're looking at like this bounteous emanating power, no more focused in the room anywhere in one place is that energy right now than the coffin. The farthest on the west side, the benevolent. And from that spot, you feel a warm beckoning, almost like a golden hand reaching out to welcome you. But
I have to go to it. I take a deep breath. I inhale, exhale, and I stand up and I slowly make my way towards this coffin. I need to get a closer look and see.
So Bruno, you see this, you see Tina, kind of very self-focused at the moment, kind of stop and look up. And then without breaking eye contact, she just kind of stands up and then starts looking and walking over toward the statue labeled the Benevolent.
Tempting, isn't it? And I gesture over to the one that looks like it's made out of like old ship's wood.
Gesturing to the one on the east side of the room. Yes, the one,
right,
unlike the others, made of this strange brown wood.
Yeah, I'm speaking to Tina.
And my head whips around and I say, yeah, it is.
This whole time they've been talking, I've been walking towards the one that says Jester.
have you checked out this one? And I'm gesturing to the pirate ship one. I mean, what of these do you think these have meaning beyond their names?
Well, it is a little bit uncanny, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we open them?
Oh.
Mm-mm. Right. Yeah.
There's just something deep inside me that wants to.
You're gonna be
But-
sorry.
But there's this like mumbling voice I feel like I could hear in the back of my mind saying that I'll be sorry.
Yeah.
I just feel like is at this point is Rial sleeping? I don't want to do.
So Rial is tranced. Yes.
Okay.
He is at this point settled into his long rest.
And for details on that, I did move over to I moved my piece. I'm just gonna chill next to Thoricus. That way, we're at least us sleepy boys are in the same spot if anything goes awry.
Heck yeah.
Oh yeah. I think when I had breakfast, I also re-picked up my settings to be like, bro, turn your shit off next time, okay?
But I take mine and set mine next to his on the ground.
Oh, friends!
Just curl up looking at each other. No, you go to sleep first.
No,
You
No, you go to sleep.
I'm not tired. You're
But
the
if I-
one who's.
I'm not even tired. Shut up.
If I can, I want to pull my dope like hood that Thoricus made for me, because in my peripherals, I don't want to see that statue. I don't want to see anything. If I'm trying to have some me time, I just want to be a
You're
piece.
The dope, the classic rogue maneuver of a flawless hood pop. As you shut out the world around you and settle into your trance. You know, Rial, for you, your trance is a little less, where with Brunor, she transfers back to another place. Yours is almost just an overwhelming sense of nothing, because you developed this ability as a way to fight the harsh realities of the world that you lived in for those 7 years of imprisonment. And so you found that by feeling nothing, stimulating nothing, that was the only way that you could feel good, was to not feel bad.
That and kindly, and that's all I got.
Yes. And in your trance, you do, from time to time, feel a friendly visit, a purr upon your leg as a cat brushes upon your leg in the mental image of your mind. The top-hatted, monocle-wearing, kindly the cat, your friend in that imprisonment for so long.
That's a funny cat.
Adorable. Adoricus, the two of them.
All right, so yeah, Thoricus and Rial are like best friend cuddling.
Awesome.
I just
Just
want to,
making
I love
sure.
my
Okay.
best friend.
I just wanted to make sure that Rial is chilling, is some maximum chilling out.
Max chill.
Some
10
But yeah, my
Chill.
face flushes as I hear Brunor
So I cast
the
Blizzard on.
reason on my shoulder, and I'm like, I stop walking towards the benevolent.
Yeah, and in that moment, Tina, that hand that you felt extended, you feel it draw back. And it's not in an aggressive way or anything, but it's that power source is still there. But that reaching out that you were experiencing, you find that it returns as you kind of separate yourself from that thought. So
Now, don't get me wrong. I think we should investigate these further. I think that it's important for us to remember that we don't want to open these yet. Yeah? Cha?
Yeah. Cha.
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 Cha? I look directly at Divot and go, cha?
Don't say it like that.
Divot's like got it half open. What's that?
And then I just like
Cha.
all right. Okay, let's just look. I was like, so like, yeah, I'm into investigating, but I want to keep, if I can, I'd love to keep my head on a swivel because I want to make sure our friends are safe. So is it cool if I leave Brian over here by Thoricus?
Fuck yeah, it's cool.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. All right, Bryman, protect the bros.
You see him kind of tussle the hair that he doesn't have, and you know his shoulders get broad.
Sure. Okay, and then I'm gonna walk over to this freaking fracking coffin and investigate this ship's wood that I was taking notes about a bit.
All right, so yeah, you see, Divot's still kind of standing there, like looking over his shoulder at the other coffin. You kind of start walking over. Again, the closer you get to it, the more you feel that that pull, that the energy hits you like a wave of the ocean. You feel like the old cask of an aged whiskey barrel. It's this ancient wood that this specific coffin seems to be made out of, with its placard that says the ruler. You see it again, kind of calling to you. You find the closer you get to it, the more you feel that rushing toss of the strength of the ocean. You swear you could start hearing it in the back of your mind.
Mm-mm.
Oh shit.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone else want to approach theirs and check theirs out?
I opened mine.
You chawed on it! You chawed!
All right, Divot. So yeah,
what's going on?
No, nothing.
All right.
I like try to do it so that they don't see me. I'm just like,
Gotcha.
All right, yeah. So Divot, you kind of walk up, after having agreed. You see Brunor kind of starts walking over toward hers, and you're like, "Hey."
I'm like, I'll just tell her I thought she meant I wouldn't open that coffin.
So yeah, you go over and you kind of take your little skeletal fingers and slide them under the seam of the seal of the coffin. You feel like a strange energy as your fingers kind of caress the seam of wood, or of the black steel coffin that I'm sorry, yours is the black steel one. So you feel your hands and you kind of slide your fingers into the gap a little bit, and it gives way and cracks open, and you smell the foul air of like 1,000-year-old corpse. Just 1,000 years of death and decay.
That stinks. Shut it.
You kind of peek inside. You see a small corpse. And with as much as you have it open, that's about all you can tell. Worm-eaten. The air itself has done wonders to this body, and there's very little preserved. But the smell of death is prominent in your nose.
All right, I peeked, and now my curiosity has the best of me. I just pull it the rest of the way open.
You open it up, and burning in the chest cavity, where the ribs and the skin that surrounded it have basically melted away with time, you see in the chest of this small skeletal creature, as you're looking at it, it matches in size very similarly to your own. And there's this small burning green fire burning within the chest cavity of this skeleton. Tina, Brunor, you hear the thud of this great, coffin slamming open. You smell the putrid death in the air. The ripe odor of this corpse that just, blasts you in the face after this wonderful meal and rest that you've been having. And you see as Divot's just kind of standing looking over it, the green fire within the coffin kind of illuminating his face as he looks down. Divot, on the skeleton itself, it has, wearing on its head, a jester's cap. Everything else dissolved and withered with age, but this cap is pristine, gold, green, and purple in color. it lays wrapped around the withered skull of this creature. The green flame glowing in its chest.
Does this flame look familiar to me?
Yes. So you're looking at it, and you know this fire, this green fire, is so similar in power to what you've recently begun to channel in yourself. You see the eldritch fire, the burning energy that you yourself summon. You know, the necromantic energy. It's not an actual fire, but it's the same power source that you see burning within the chest of this creature, or of this skeleton.
I want that hat.
Get that hat. There you go.
I reach out over the flames, and I pick up the hat and look at it.
As your fingers go over the chest cavity, your fingertips, your skeletal white fingertips, crackle with that same green energy. You reach down and you grab, and as you begin to pull the hat away, the skin that surrounded the area that the hat was worn on stretches away. And you kind of peel it off the skull of this small skeletal creature. You hold it in your hand, and Divot, before you can even put it on, it calls to you. You feel connected to this thing in a way that you've never felt connected to any one thing before.
Aww.
Except for Thorkin.
Okay.
I put it on. I definitely put it on.
You don it over your head. You know, it's green around the base with a green strap with these golden accents as these purple and golden spikes raise and fall, some with bells, some not. You slide it on. And you feel as if a line stretches in both directions from you, Divot. Seeing in 360 degrees, this seems to transcend even that dimension of space, as if a line is being drawn that connects your future with your past. And as you put this hat on, they connect.
And I whisper to myself, surely I won't mind if I borrow this.
Now this energy, this swelling surge, this green fire that's bursting within the skeletal energy, the chest of the skeleton before you, it disappears. It's gone. And only Divot notices it, the surge of energy that he felt in that moment. Now Divot, this too, a magic item. You have not attuned to it, nor know anything really about it, other than that it is very clearly magical. But you guys witness as the green, flashing light that washed upon Divot as he stood before the coffin now turned open. The green fire dies as you see Divot dawn.
I slam the coffin and go, guys, free hat.
Well, if Divot's opening his coffin, I'm opening mine.
Go for it. Just
What do you mean,
it.
of course?
Open
I'm obviously not the blade
coffin.
master.
You see Tina start stomping over toward the benevolent coffin.
I put my hand on it and I slide it open.
Tina, you set your hand upon the top of this black steel coffin, and you feel that same glowing gold energy now channel into the touch of your own hand. And without even having to draw the latch of this coffin and throw it aside, at the mere touch of your hand, the coffin opens.
Whoa.
You see there another withered skeleton, small in stature, eaten by the age of time, but also small in frame, similar to your own. You see as her hands are crossed piously across her chest, and on her right ring finger, there is this glowing ring. And the ring is actually the source of that energy that you felt. And that benevolent energy swells, and this is the fountain from which it surges, is this ring that lays on her fingers.
Well, that's a nice ring.
The old trickster cleric in you is like,
Ooh, that's shiny. Yeah, I reach out and I want to put that ring on.
So you experience a very similar, as Divot, as you reach out over this skeleton, your fingertips kind of buzz with the same energy, this magic source that you're just learning kind of how to master. You feel it glow on your fingertips as if you're putting your hand through a warm honey. And it just reaches out, and you grab the ring, and whereas with Divot's, the skin was torn, it's almost like the skeletal hand offers this ring to you. It floats as you go to place your finger on it, and you find yourself clasping the ring in your fingers.
But before I put it on, it's almost too good. It's like a taste of the old drug that I was addicted to, and I don't slip it on my finger because that's not who I am anymore. And then I put it back.
Oh, yeah.
You put it in the coffin?
It was on the skeleton's finger, right?
Yeah.
I put it back on the skeleton's finger.
Okay, so yes, yeah. You feel it in your hands, and you see what the ring is, two hands kind of cupped like this, and it's glowing. You can feel that source of the energy kind of flowing from the bent hands in the ring, and you quickly kind of set the ring back, slide it on the skeleton, and as you step back, you see the coffin itself closes.
And my heart is racing. I'm dizzy. I need to sit down for a second.
You kind of stumble back and you kind of bump against the corpse of the roper, which basically is a stalactite now, that just has a big eye and is oozing a bunch of blue goo out of it. You kind of sit back and kind of stumble on one of the tentacles that's still laying on the ground. Your back lands against the cold stone wall of the back of this roper. You catch your breath.
It was a nice ring.
So after that, I look over mine, Brunors, I guess. And I just kind of take a slow walk over and I open it and I look inside.
You walk up. Again, you feel that crashing energy of the waves. And as you get closer, your hand too flows with that same tugging and pull of the forces of the ocean. And you feel as your hand just kind of scoops like a wave cresting against a rock on the beach as the top of the lid just blows open. You see laid before you the skeleton of a female elf. But you don't see much other than the face, arms, and feet, because laying on her chest is this great shield. It looks like the figurehead of a ship's mast. You see, it's like this wooden carving of a woman. It looks to be a sea elf, kind of coming out and grandly presenting her arms at the front of the shield. The shield hums with that same magic of the old wood. You feel the legends of the journeys of the ship that this wood once was a part of, and you feel the mast of the ship calling out to you now, as it so has called to you before. You feel like you're floating underwater.
I'm gonna close the casket, and
You feel like you drop to the ground. The feeling of being underwater disperses.
this isn't meant to be mine yet. This is truly me. If this is truly supposed to be my future, then I will get that later, bro. Later.
You kind of back up similarly to Tina, stumble over a tentacle and back against the roper as you two share this moment, backs against either side of the stalactite, feeling these extreme power sources before you. While Divot nearby is just kind of, you see the eyes looking in all directions all around him as he seemingly is paying attention to you and looking at everything else at the same time.
Yeah. That does not look like the best trip in the world. Hey, Divot, how are you feeling, brother? What's going on with you?
Yeah, how you
friend?
feeling, bro?
I feel great.
You see, as he says it, the little
Excellent.
bells on the end kind of jingle a little bit.
I like your new hat.
Gnarly. Excellent.
Fuck's going on?
Thank you. Thank you.
Cool.
Kind of a
Cool,
tense
most
moment.
excellent.
Did we all see what happened with each other?
Yes.
Are the coffins are like close enough?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's just kind of this air heavy in the air. That was the encounter for the long rest. If you guys have anything else you would like to resolve in that period, you can. If not, we will we'll start waking up.
I see we all made different choices there. No judgment. There's no judgment here. You know, gates open. Come on.
It's a
in.
nice hat, though, Divot. It's a nice hat.
It's a gnarly hat. I love it.
Yeah.
Jingle jangle.
Yeah, I'm saying this as I'm like standing up and all of that, but yeah. Nice hat. Nice hat, Divot.
I like it because now I can hear you coming. And I kind of jostle him a little bit. And now I can hear you coming, right? Brother, and just like jostling.
Jocelyn leads to some joshing. Everybody starts waking
Oh,
up.
God.
Thoricus, you hear kind of the giggling and laughter of Brunor, like,
And I appreciate Bruno for bringing the joshing to the group, because I always am so hard on like, this is me like bring. Oof. What was I saying? Never mind. I lost my train of thought. Oh, no.
brought to you by cannabis.
Never mind.
You're not mad at Divot anymore.
No.
You feel bad.
Let's josh
being
it.
mad
Let's
at
keep
Divot.
joshing. Let's keep joshing.
So the joshing keeps going.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna say
Yeah.
that was the encounter of that long rest. So at this point, a full 8 hours have gone by for you, Thoricus. Rial, you two come out of you, and you see that sense of nothingness starts to go away as you hear the laughter and kind of joy of the three of you that are awake. You hear a jingle jangle of bells of this strange new hat that you see on Divot's head, as the Joshin seems to be rousing even Thoricus from, at last, a good, deep sleep and a
Fucking
wonderful meal.
finally.
Thoricus, you no longer have that point of exhaustion. It's gone, BB. And yes, welcome back. Unfortunately, you still have less. You have like 6 less max hit points from that hag. But you know, all you need is a greater restoration, bro. Make really close friends with a high level druid or high level cleric. Tinda should be able to do it pretty soon.
Just
Oh,
so I
pretty
can
soon.
put the math out there, it's my max was 71.
Mhm.
Just in case I forget later on and be like, oh, hey, well,
Yeah.
it's a long time ago.
Yeah,
Now that I have
actually,
the
it's good.
restoration,
I have it on your
what's my
character
actual
card.
hit
It
point?
says 71, so we'll have a visual reminder,
Just
my man.
smoke, y'all. It happens.
You know, we're out here we're doing the thing.
I mean, I love how it opens other parts of my mind, though.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
there's that.
Yeah, no, I'm in this chamber with you guys right now, and I'm having a great time. I'm feeling the joshing. I'm like,
Oh,
Happy I love
joshing
it.
extended.
Josh it.
this is some tops joshing.
I can't help but think that they should have grabbed their stuff, but I understand.
Yeah, Divot, you're kind of like baffled a little bit right now. Like this weird sense of clarity that you have in your mind. You feel like you're like a step up on everything else around you right now. You've got 360-degree vision. You know, you're getting closer to this connection between you and the spirit of death. You know, now that we're with you, you did eat of the acorn that you found within the statue of Sithis. And so you're feeling in this moment like, man, between this and this robe and all this new power, like Divot, you are becoming quite a force to be reckoned with. And again, you kind of look back at the camp, and as everybody's kind of rousing too, and you see something that everybody else seems to have forgotten about mostly. But laying on the ground is this beautiful golden-handled falchion sword with a purple stone set in one of the 3 recesses. 2 of them lay empty. You look at it on the ground, and that feeling, Divot, that you explained, that you can't believe they wouldn't use that power. You look past them and you see the sword on the ground, and you're like, and speaking of power, and you're just baffled that this item, this clearly magic blade, is just laying unattended in the dirt right now.
He read my mind. I'm the one that found the thing. I've been thinking about it.
So Rial, yeah, you come to out of your, you feel the emotion of reality once more, a much more pleasant one than the one you were used to. And you look around, and you kind of like, one of the first things you notice with your perception, Rial, you're so back, your mind goes right back into like business mode. You quickly look and you see Divot, like you just see his eyes as he's sitting in this new jester hat, staring at the sword.
I look at Rial and I'm like, Rial, I think it's for you.
I hear that, and it's very interesting. But first, I'm gonna walk up to Brunor. I gave it to her first. Brunor, I thought something odd of that sword up in that stalagmite. Do you notice anything weird about it? It's funny, we just kind of found it stabbed into this thing.
Right. So it talked. I felt like I could feel like a voice coming from it at one point. I didn't know if it was just my conscience having a new voice, or if it was really just the sword kind of just going sword at me. So it did that. It seemed pretty gnarly, pretty bodacious. I loved it. It was thrilling. It was stellar, and I'm just not in the market for a new sword right now. I love Andorel so much. So, I mean, if you want it, you could have it.
You said it talked? What did it speak like?
The best that I could remember was, it was like a really light, like, British dude voice. You know what I'm saying? Like there's this creature called a David Hyde Pierce. Sounds kind of like that. That's what I heard in my in the back of my mind.
Right. David Hyde Pierce.
A David Hyde Pierce.
Known across the land.
Mm-hmm. It's an underwater creature. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's from. They're gorgeous and majestic, and they have a lot of skills and a lot of things that they can do.
And British accents. All right. Thank you. May I please? Would you mind if I investigate the sword? I'm rather curious.
Go for it. Oh, you know what? You're just so funny. Okay, I have a spell scroll of identity. I have no idea or identify that. I have nothing to do with. I just had it from that one wizard guy that mysteriously died. You know, him who melted for no reason.
We may never know how that happened. We may never know.
It'll forever be a mystery.
Spontaneous melting syndrome.
Yes.
It happens. Sometimes you melt and then leave behind lots of cool stuff. And in this bag I had was this spell scroll.
You did loot the guy that melted.
I did. I did.
Dude, he was
like something I
have hands. Like,
yeah.
Plus, I got hot face all over me.
yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. You're a fashionable guy. I hate to ruin my man's threads. Yeah. So I don't know if that means anything to you, but I have one of these now, or I have had it forever. I've just been sitting here on it. Like, I don't know what to do with this, but I don't know what that weapon does. But here's this thing.
Really? A scroll of... I can use that. I know how to use this.
Alan!
Yes,
Okay.
even, if you'll recall, reality, your imprisonment was within the cloister of trees. So, many books and scrolls were you able to, over your many years of capture, sneak away, and you tried to stay as well read as possible. Or at any time, Ergon could have stopped this if he pleased. And it was his joy to, wait until you were right near the end of a book and then take it from your library. But yes, you now with your access to this magic, you're like, you can feel kind of the magic in the ink of the scroll. You're like, I could use this.
I've literally held on to that for so long.
Yeah. Since you melted that.
Just
guy.
randomly.
Say,
I'm like, I
it's
don't
only
have to
like
do it this
over
now.
6 months in real time. But...
Yeah, this was like pre-COVID.
Yeah.
So long.
Was Weekend at Barrels even in the recording? I don't even think that's a recorded episode. Weekend
No.
at Barrels. Damn.
No. Yeah.
Ooh.
Just to bridge the gap here for you guys, we did play some sessions before we started recording this thing. We were just gonna do it as an experiment that we all fell in love with these characters and the story, and we decided to just keep riding it through this crazy thing that happened in the world. It's the greatest thing ever. But yes, this all stems from way back then. So they melted a guy who tried to identify this item. The spell backfired and it melted him. They looted that guy.
Worry about it.
Yeah, they looted that guy, and then they Weekend at Bernie's his corpse into. They had to talk to a guy while they were holding his corpse, and they were like acting for him and making him talk. Oh, the early. That's OG. Welcome to the early stuff. I'll do a
that's
summary
the lore.
of that for
That's the
everybody.
Those
lore
good
right
old
there.
Blaze.
Yeah.
Oh, that was fun.
We big Joshin.
We've been joshing, baby.
Beyond the first episode?
Hey, Joshin.
We've been joshing.
I'll
I'll
do it.
cook that.
I don't know.
Oh,
There's
I'll
that.
smoke
Oh, yeah.
for that.
Crit plot.
Mm.
Crit plot. There you go.
Let's do it. Let's do a credit. Critical friendship. That's what that was. Friend,
Oh, yeah.
Lore hit.
Friend crit. Crit friend. I could have done better than that.
Oops, I crit my friends.
Oops, I crit.
All right, so
my
yeah, Rial,
friend.
you've got the scroll. If you were inclined, just so you know, identify is a spell. It's a first level divination spell. It takes a minute to cast, and it would one object that you can touch throughout the casting of the spell. It would tell you what it does, how to use it, whether it requires attunement to use, how many charges it has, if any. You learn whether any spells are affecting the item and what they are, and if the item was created by a spell, you learn which spell created it. If you instead touch a creature, you learn what spells it knows or has affecting it.
Damn.
Do it.
Excellent. Go for it, brother.
Do it.
Am I back? Am I back?
Yes.
Sweet.
You're
Brunor.
there the whole time, just being super
Yeah,
handsome.
you're here. Yeah.
Oh, jeez, Louise. You
Yeah,
cut
so
that out
handsome.
there. Cut that. Brunor, do you want to find out what this sword does?
Yeah.
Let's go!
Okay.
All right. Rial Othervon, you unravel the scroll. You undo the little red tassel that holds it together, and you read the runes written in Elvish, your native tongue. Easy for you to start attuning to the magic that's been stored within this scroll. And as you read the words written on the parchment and begin casting the spell, like I said, it takes about a minute. You going through the incantations, you start to. It's like the light of the room around you starts dimming at the edges a bit. And you feel like where once you were in like a large room, you kind of feel a little claustrophobic, like the room around you is getting smaller and smaller. And the light seems to be getting darker. And your awareness to people and things is kind of fading, almost like when you're in your trance. You feel a sense of nothingness once more, kind of coming on to you. And you finish the ritual. And you learn the following.
Oh shit.
This blade is a sentient blade. Okay, so within it, there is sentience. This blade is also cursed.
Mm-hmm.
The nature of the curse is actually stronger than the spell Identify. You would need access to some pretty high-level magics. It's basically like an artifact. All right? Here's the peach. It's a +1.
Oh, there's more.
It's a +1 longsword. A falchion. It gets +1 to attack and damage. You also get +1 to your saving throws while you're using it.
Okay.
And Rial, as you feel there's this one other magic that doesn't quite emanate from the blade itself, but rather the purple stone in the hilt. And as you use the Identify to kind of weave your mind with the magics that wrap around the blade, you start to experience that same sensation that Brunor had as she held it. This fractured reality, seeing yourself from 1,000 different angles, but noticing small variations between each version of yourself, as if you were looking at an infinite bunch of realities existing at the same time, but in this very moment. Each of them with their own flaws and differences, maybe colors changed, gear worn, all of these moments all happening at the same time. So powerful, the magic that emanates from this longsword. You tune in on the stone, and you let the identified magic reveal to your mind the magic held within. And you lose your breath for a moment. There is, within this one stone, on this luck blade, which is what this is, a stone which has the power to cast the spell Wish. The most powerful spell in Dungeons and Dragons.
But
you know what? You know what? Rial, because
No.
Identify does tell you. I'm gonna let you know what Wish does.
Holy shit.
Bless
Guys, this
you.
is a beautiful moment for me. So let me break in some of my new players to this money little
Buckle up.
section. Wish
Man.
is the mightiest spell that a mortal creature can cast. By simply speaking aloud, you can alter the very foundations of reality in accord with your desires. The basic use of the spell is to duplicate any other spell of 8th level or lower. So Wish you could any spell between 1st and 8th level, you could use a Wish to cast. Now, that's not really a way a lot of people will use this spell, so I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it. You don't need to meet the requirements of the spell, including components. So like you could resurrect somebody with a Wish. The spell simply takes effect. Alternatively, you can create one of the following effects of your choice. You create one object up to 25,000 gold pieces in value that isn't a magic item. The object can be no more than 300 feet in any dimension, and it appears in an unoccupied space you see on the ground. You allow up to 20 creatures that you can see to regain all their hit points and end all effects on them described in the Greater Restoration spell. You grant, or, these are all ors, you grant up to 10 creatures that you can see resistance to a damage type that you choose. Fire, necromancy. You grant another one. You grant up to 10 creatures you can see immunity to a single spell or another magical effect for 8 hours. So if you're fighting a lich, you could make people immune to the lich's life drain attack. Or you can undo a single recent event by forcing a re-roll of any roll made within the last round, including your last turn. Reality reshapes itself to accommodate the new result. For example, a Wish could undo an opponent's successful saving throw, a foe's critical hit, a friend's failed saving throw. You can force the re-roll to be made with advantage or disadvantage, and you choose whether to use the re-roll or the original roll. This is a big one here for my creative players. you might be able to achieve something beyond the scope of all of the above examples. State your wish to the DM as precisely as possible, and the DM has great latitude in ruling what occurs in such an instance. The greater the wish, the greater the likelihood that something goes wrong. The spell could simply fail. The effect you desire might only be partly achieved, or you might suffer some vastly unforeseen consequence of a result of how you worded the wish. So, for example, wish somebody dead, you might transfer forward into a time to the time that they died peacefully in bed. For example, it's basically Leprechaun 2 rules.
Monkey paw.
Now, the stress of casting the spell will, like, cripple you a bit. When you cast the spell, you can't, after enduring that stress, each time you cast any spell until you finish a long rest, you also take necrotic damage based on the level of the spell, a lot of it. A d10 per level of the spell. The damage can't be reduced or prevented in any way. So it's like this spell really racks you until you do a long rest. For each, in addition, your strength drops to 3. Your strength score turns into a 3 for 2d4 days. For each of those days you spend resting and doing nothing more than light activity, your recovery time increases by 2 days. So, and then also, there's a 30% chance that you are never able to cast Wish again after you cast that spell.
So make it count. Okay.
Yeah.
You only get one. Shit.
Yeah. Wow.
Damn.
Wow.
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 Now, you're not touching the Blade Real. You're aware of this magic without having to have made contact with it. But those fractured realities, you see the recoil of every single version of yourself in all these different realities back away at the starting realization of perhaps one of the most powerful items ever created. Laying on the ground, unattended, near your allies. You feel that whisper of the gray mist. You hear the laughter of Urgon in your mind. And that is definitely where we're going to pick it up next time, guys. Ooh.
Dude. You got round up, and then you're going to end it like that? Yeah. Snap and everything.
How bad do you want to play D&D next week? Now, that's how I get you, bro. That's how I get you.
So bad.
Just a taste.
Oh, my God.
All right. Fucking A, guys. Can we just be like, Brian, a breath weapon? Now there's a luck. I'm fucking like, I have a D&D. I'm just like, oh, it's so good.
DM Divot.
Did you say I have D&B?
Divot, yeah, you're going to have to attune to that hat. And we'll go over that too. Whew. All right, guys. Thank you, guys. Thanks to the buds for freaking hanging out. Thanks to my players, the fucking amazing players. I love playing Dungeons & Dragons with you guys. I can't look forward to doing it again. Thanks to everybody that does anything in any way related to this in any capacity. You all make my life infinitely better. Hopefully we can bring you a little bit of joy in kind of a weird time in all of our shared history. So from WeeDnD to all you guys, we love you guys. Freaking have a great time. Love yourself. Take care of self-care like Tina Smooth Hands would. And let's get to that ritual. Maybe you've heard about it. Maybe you haven't. We like to take these bad boys like here, look around, make sure we're safe, and go. Lighters up. Thanks for playing fucking D&D with us, guys. We love you, and we'll see you next week.
Know it.
Woo.